Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. This is Comics News Today for the 27th of November. Whew, we're almost into December, getting close to the end of the year. Interesting, exciting. Time flies when you're old, Dinale. Just expect that. The time goes by, time just go to, months pass, and then 2 years are gone. You're like, what happened? It's a weird thing for old people.
Yeah, is that what is going to be expected?
Yeah, yeah.
Old people process time faster than
Yeah,
young
no, it's
people.
weird. It's weird. I don't
Mhm.
understand it. It should be the opposite of things, but it is what it is. Nevertheless, welcome, guys. Glad to have you here. Do keep in mind we got all our links down below to our things we're doing, particularly on FanSpeak. Please check them out, and of course, hit that share button if you wouldn't mind, because we are live streamers. We got a lot of news to get to today, guys. So we're really happy to have you here, and do keep in mind that this is kind of our pseudo Thanksgiving show because tomorrow we will be off. There will be no comics news, nor will there be drawn and quartered. Also, of course, Friday is our day off, so we'll be back on Saturday. But we're gonna have some fun today. I'm glad you're here, and yeah, no. So we do have George with us today, but George is in the process of making an abomination he is calling chili and couscous.
It's not an abomination. It's delicious.
No, no, that doesn't sound good at all. That doesn't sound good, George.
Okay, okay. Then I'll just up the ante. I'm going to add some carrots.
That's okay. That's okay. I can see that. I don't have a problem with that. A little bit of carrots is okay, but the couscous thing is weird. It's a very strange taste in rice. But anyway, hi George, how you doing, man?
Okie dokie. I am very, very happy to be amongst the group.
Well, that's good. Well, you are welcome, but I do have to ask what exactly our angst level is today, because that's important to know.
It's just hungry. Angst
Just
is
hungry.
hunger.
That might be the most
Eh,
dangerous George there is.
Yes, don't get between me and food.
All right, there you go. And of course, you guys have already heard from the Denali Lama himself. So, Denali, we got a lot of news to cover today, man.
Yep, I'm going to be making it for tomorrow, so it's going to be your Thanksgiving feast of news. It's quite a
Wait, does that
lot.
mean Chester's not going to talk a lot?
Oh gosh. Here we go. Here we go. Now I'm still in this problem of not being able to see the chat, so let me come over to the other side and say hello, and then I'll jump back over. So we got Roger in here. Hello, Roger. Nice to see you, dude. You're so consistent. That's awesome. We have Tolfer as well, saying hello, and Nick C says it's over 9,000. Yeah, well, unfortunately, it's probably true, Nick. But we'll wade through it as we have to. And just a quick little note on the word Wade, or the name Wade, which is of course spelled differently. But did you guys notice that Mark Wade's lawyer, Mark Zaid, was also involved is also directly involved in the impeachments and the whistleblower? Did you guys see that?
Yes,
Is
there's
there
a
is there
Yeah.
a connection? I wonder. I wonder. I wonder.
there's a Comics Gate connection to the President Gate. My gosh, how
That's
many gates
crazy.
are we involved in this?
I don't know. It's pretty weird, man. I have to tell you. Did you know that, DeWolf? That Mark Wade's lawyer, Mark Zaid, is a real person. It's not a joke character, and he was directly involved in the with the whistleblower and the impeachment hearings that are going on. Did you know that?
Um, I didn't know that, but I don't really think he's real in in this. I think he was real in another world,
Uh huh.
and they actually pulled him through that dimension to this one
Uh huh.
first.
Well, there you go. There you go. Well, you would think they might take some time to use that technology for their benefit, but no, I guess they're too angsty. But
It's
I just,
short sightedness.
yeah, sure said.
It,
But it just shows you the incestuous nature of them. Those lefties, they stick together, huh?
that
Well,
is
they're all in a
that is
bubble.
bizarre. Yeah.
Yeah, it is bizarre. But nevertheless, let's jump over here and check out the news because we do have a lot, so we got to get to it. Let me share this up here first. And
Hey,
yeah, go ahead.
well, hi. First,
Oh,
I didn't get to
hi,
say hello.
hi, DeWolf. How you doing?
I'm doing miserable. I've got a low level migraine that
Uh
I've been
huh.
fighting since noon. But I had to come on. I had to come on and around because I've got to promote stuff,
Well,
right?
that's good. Yeah, you should do that. Of course, you do realize that your migraine has nothing on my migraine, which is called George. You understand that, right?
Well, I mean, we all have our thing.
That's true.
Well, now we know where DeWolf's loyalties lie. he just wants to promote and make money instead of hanging out with his friends.
I'm not making money out though. So this promotion here is all about getting everybody to go to the Book of Elves Indigo, go pre-launch, but that's not about making money. It's about
What is that?
it's about me allowing to share some holiday spirit with everybody, because the intention is to get you on the email list, and then of course I'm going to have to solicit the physical list, your physical address, because I want to send out Christmas cards
Ooh.
from not just me but the characters of the book. So they have their own holidays, and they're going to be sharing their holiday version of Christmas with you,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to be able to do that. So I'm going to be able to. I'm going to find the chat over here. I'm going to put out the link so everybody can visit that, so that I can get Christmas cards out to everybody. So it's a little tease and a little fun from FSP.
That's a good idea. Feliz Navidad, indeed, sir. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
happy Thanksgiving to everybody as well. Even if for those of you like George who are unfortunate enough not to be an American, we happy Thanksgiving to you too, George. Yeah, and yeah, no, I hope you guys have a good time with your families and such. And keep in mind that what we're really thankful for is thanking those Indians who came up and saved those pilgrims' butt, right? Because that's what it's really about. And the incredibly awesome relationship they had for such a long time until those damn French caused all the trouble, right? Right? See, it's always the French. It always comes back to the French. What's up with that?
I thought it was the Dutch, but
No, God, no, that's a different story. We're talking about the French.
I got that reference.
All right, guys, let me jump over here and start talking about our news. Now, unfortunately, our first bit of news is actually this is the one that was put up by Somaly, and thank you very much, Somaly. You guys know we like to acknowledge the passing of any kind of comic book creator. Oh, excuse me. Hold on a second. Man. Yeah.
Yep. Well,
I've been
you
having to deal
good?
with that. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
I've had kind of a cold going on for a little bit, but that's all right.
Mm.
But anyway, we do try to acknowledge the comic book passing, people working in comic book passing, and thank you for showing this to us, Emily, because it's for me, there's a lot of people who I don't know. So it's cool that I'm learning about them. And this guy's kind of interesting. His name is Howard Cruz, I guess, or Cruss. Howard Cruss, I guess. He dies at 45 years old. Excuse me, 75 years old. And he's, I guess, famous because he did a lot of gay comic books, which I didn't even know there was such a thing, but I guess I should have expected there would have been. But he did pass away to cancer, so condolences to his family, and safe journey, sir. But looks like he's won a bunch of awards, and he's had some famous comic books, and he's been acknowledged for many things. I don't know any of this stuff, but it's interesting to me. Well, one, thank you for his career that he put forward, because obviously he had a lot of people who liked what he was doing, but also because I didn't even know there was that side to comic books. And I don't know. I think that's cool that there was a big enough support for him that he was actually acknowledged. And this is a long time ago, right? This isn't anything new. It's going back in the 60s even. Have you guys ever heard of this guy?
I believe through his comic strip, which is the Choosy Mother. It was on the newspaper. I think right there, the two couples right there in the bottom.
Oh, those right here? Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. And it's
So.
a very cute style. I've certainly seen it before. He seems to
Mhm.
have a very eclectic style. It's kind of interesting. And he won an Eisner back in like the 60s when they actually had meaning. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, no, interesting news. Thank you very much, Emily, for bringing this up. And, once again, condolences to his family. And it's a little bit young. It's all right, though. It's an okay age. It's a little young, I think, for our modern time. But yeah. Any other comments before I move on?
No,
No?
we're good.
Yeah,
Are you
but
sure back in that era you weren't talking about gay as in joyful?
No, definitely not. But I just didn't even know anything. I've never heard anything about that. I know these days they push stuff a lot. They're really pushing an agenda. But and back in the '60s they probably were too. I mean, I really think things come around. They always come back around, right? And we're kind of right now in a time that's very similar to what the '60s were, I think. We don't really know because we didn't. Most of us didn't live in that time. But I have a feeling
Good
that
point.
yeah, but social media has probably amplified the sound of it, but it's probably very similar to what was going on then because there was a lot of nonsense and noise and things that happened, and a lot of people patting themselves on the back. And of course, now that we're sitting here 60 or say 50 to 60 years later, we're seeing that a lot of those things that came, out of the change that came out of the screaming and yelling of people have failed, just completely failed, right? Welfare is an absolute debacle, right? It hasn't helped anybody. It's actually hurt the black community particularly horribly. I mean, it's interesting, but things always seem to come back around, and I'm a bit terrified because that means that '80s fashion will be upon us soon. Oof, that's not good. That's really not good. I mean, this is the one thing you can say about the '80s, right? There was a lot of fun in the '80s, good things, but the fashion was horrendous, dude. It was really bad.
The
I
hair.
Oh, the hair,
The
dude.
hair.
I had a mullet, and I admit it. I had one. I even had a rat tail at one time. Oh my god. Moving on. Now, this is a one little quick kind of funny thing I just got to cover real quick, and we'll move on. Somaly is putting up a lot of news for us on the Facebook page, and that which is awesome. Thank you very much. And of course, everybody, you're welcome to put up your own news and stuff. We'll certainly look at it and drop it on. A lot of times, Denali does kind of cover everything that needs covering, but please do so. And of course, Somley comes up with interesting things from time to time. This is a joke, really. I think he's having a laugh, but I thought we'd have a laugh with him because Omega Labyrinth Life is basically an RPG where it's a Japanese anime. What do they call these things? Hentai, I guess you guys call it in the West. And basically, you're going around and you're trying to increase your memory size. So you're trying to make your character larger boobies, and I'm for that. I'm for that. I'm not against that. But goodness gracious, but this is one of those. I wish Booster was here because he knows all about this kind of stuff. But it's one of those strange sex stuff that comes out of Japan, oddly enough. But haha, Somali, haha. I talked about it. So next. All right, here we go. First real news. Go ahead, Denali.
All right, so this is a tie-in to the news from Monday where we were talking about Netflix acquiring the Paris Theater for
Hmm.
they said it to enhance cultural and keep a historical site still open, but really it's for Oscar nomination. Well, here's the first Oscar contender for Best Actor, which is funny enough, Adam Sandler
Yeah.
with his Uncut Gem, which is being distributed by Netflix.
Yeah. And I actually read through this article, and Variety. Some of these news magazine, internet magazines, when they're actually talking about the stuff they do, they're actually pretty good articles. It's when they kind of step out of their bounds, like into politics and stuff, that they get silly. And Variety, of course, this is up their alley. This is what they do. And
Mhm.
I read this article, and it sounds like. And I invite you to go read it yourself, but it sounds like Mr. Sandler has put out a pretty good flick, dude.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, and which is good on him because it's been a while, dude. It's been a while. A lot of people like to pick on Adam Sandler and joke at him because he does put out a lot of crap. He's just trying to make money for him and his buddies, which for some reason people seem to think is a bad thing. For me, him trying to support his friends and make sure everybody's getting money from time to time is kind of a good thing, isn't it? I don't know.
All right, but you want to be entertained, and some of his recent stuff hasn't been really entertainment because we kind of expect like his early era where it was actually funny
Well, I mean,
and
it's
people.
true. It's true. It's true. Yeah. But it's good that he's actually got something going on that seems to be good. I'm going to check it out. I do like Adam Sandler. You guys like Adam?
Mhm. I think I liked him up to Waterboy, and then everything else that came afterward wasn't
Oh, Waterboy was
really that good.
genius, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, I think I'm probably a little bit different than others, but my favorite Adam Sandler is actually Little Nicky.
Oh, yeah.
I love Little Nicky, dude. That's hilarious. But he's got so many good movies, and he's made some bad ones. But like Jack and Jill, which came out a few years back, it was pretty bad, but it wasn't as bad as people are laying on. I mean, it's kind of that typical schlock, you know. But what about you, DeWolf? What's your take on Sandler?
Well, wasn't Little Nicky Hellboy?
Well, kinda, I guess, in an
Kinda.
odd way. Yeah.
Am I thinking right? Yeah, I think Adam Sandler he did a really good job of transitioning from comedy, or
Mm,
actually starting with comedy,
yeah.
but then melding heart into the movie as well.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep.
And that's like Little Nicky, for instance. It has that as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then you've got the one where he's raising the little boy
Oh yeah, that was a pretty
by
good one
by
too. What
himself.
was that called? Big Brother or I can't remember what that was called.
Yeah,
But
three
yeah, that was
brothers and a
fun.
baby. Oh no, no,
No,
that was
no, no,
different
no.
too.
That was Tom Selleck.
Um,
Oof.
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, and that's for me that's a good thing to see. It's so much more
Yeah.
warming because for a while there we saw a lot of sophomoric things. We're still seeing sophomoric
Yeah.
comedy without much heart behind it, or a reason to watch. Where you get some feel good moments in there because as much as everybody thinks guys are and men we're toxic and we're just sophomoric all the time making bad jokes and stuff. Men have hearts, we got feelings, and we like to also go down that road a little bit and enjoy that
Sure.
kind of humor as well, and that idea of being a mentor. I mean, Big Daddy. All right, thanks Roger Heller with the
Big
save
Daddy.
there.
There you go.
Big Daddy. So it shows a man being a man taking responsibility,
Yeah.
helping somebody else. That's really what we are all about. While we have fun
Hmm.
in this life and kind of narc on each other occasionally.
Yeah. Well, he's got a lot of hits, and that was a fun one too. Adam Sandler, of course, coming from the Turkey Song, Saturday Night Live, and he was very funny back then. Of course, it was very sophomoric, but genius at the same time. But actually, you touched on a very good point, DeWolf, because the note or the sign or the evidence of a master comedian is being able to bring the heartwarming, dramatic into it, right? That's when you
Mm.
know you got a really master comedian standing in front of you. And I'll give you a modern example. Of course, Robin Williams was absolute perfect at that. But a modern
Oh, yeah.
example is Gabriel Iglesias, right? Now I've seen
Mhm.
Gabriel's career. We all have since he was on that stand-up comedy reality show where he got kicked off of with his great little donut joke, which is hilarious. But we've seen him go from just kind of the silly little jokes, which are clever, to if you watch his stand-ups now, he is a master of what he's doing, and it's oddly makes me feel proud because I've seen him since he started, right? Because he has honed his talent to the point that he adds in even almost tearful moments in his performance in his comedic stand-ups, and that's a master comedian. That's someone who is really knows what they're doing, and Adam Sandler can most certainly do that, dude.
Truly,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. If you don't believe that, go check out his last stand-up he did about 5 or 6 years ago. It was stellar. Anyway, George, you have something to mention before I move on?
51st Dates, I thought was the most dramatic Adam Sandler movie ever.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Cool. I
Mhm.
totally forgot about that, George. But yeah, I think Adam Sandler is really good. I mean, he gets way too much flack. I personally think he's done a lot of good stuff. But let's move on. We do have a lot to cover, but good on
But who
you.
would he play in the MCU? That's the question.
Oh, there, that is a good question. Who would he play? Spider Girl? That would be funny. He'd be the best Spider Girl ever. And you say, no, Chester, that's more of that gender swapping stuff. Well, you know what? It's the future. So let's just embrace it.
No,
Next,
he would be good as JJ Jameson.
he could be. Maybe. I don't know about that. But go ahead, dude.
Mm. So Warner Brother finds a director for their new Fugitive remake. Uh, Albert Hughes will be taking the helm for that, for a movie that nobody's asking for. But the reason why is because we kind of discussed about it is that the Fugitive script is going back to its creator, so they have to make one more movie before the copyrights goes back. So
this is the typical cash in is what this is, which is just evil. In my opinion, but no one asked for this. No one wants this. We had a remake already. What was that Tommy Lee Jones and Harrison Ford thing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we really don't need this, but Dinale is completely correct. It's all about their last opportunity to make a penny on it. So you're getting a movie, and this guy right here, Albert Hughes. I have not seen Menace to Society or Dead Presidents. I haven't seen either one of those, but rock on, dude, man. Do you put your best foot forward and make something interesting, and you'll probably be all right. But yeah.
Now this was a long running television show.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's where it came out.
It was much, kind of like in that vein. Dare I say, the Incredible Hulk, because we are, comic show.
Yeah.
In which the main character continues going from one place to the next while being chased. And so, they did the movie with Tommy Lee Jones, and I mean, a great remake. But to do a remake of a remake, you're right. It's just sad.
Yeah, but this opportunity for this young guy, I hope he embraces it, and he doesn't get too much suit interference. Maybe he can, make a little more name for himself. I mean, I would just try to be optimistic about it. But the original Fugitive was kind of like, of course, it wasn't sci-fi, but there was a show called I think it was called Fringe, or something like that. It was a fun little sci-fi show. I think it was called Fringe,
yeah, I know which one you're talking about. It's with, which is with J.J. Abrams' company.
It might have been JJ1, yeah. But he does TV best, dude. He can't end nothing, but he does TV best. He should go back to that. But
Comic Book Bob, he suggests that he's predicting much wokeness. So maybe it'll be a one-armed woman.
Maybe. But the reason I mentioned like Fringe is because it followed a very strict narrative, right? And we don't have a lot of these I guess you would call them episodic type of things anymore, where you just have these standalone episodes that have nothing to do with the main line that's going on. They don't do that much anymore. But The Fugitive was kind of like a modern stuff, where it really is following this one linear story, and it was very successful for the time. But maybe there will be wokeness. I don't know. But this wokeness is starting to get some serious pushback right now. And if he's smart, he'll just try to make the best and most entertaining film he can and try to gain a little feather in his cap to move his career along. That's what he would if he was smart. So I don't have much to say about it because I don't care. But next.
Right, but you understand that we're going to see a lot of remakes.
Yeah.
And that's because the copyrights is going back to the original creators, and that's why they're last time. So if you ever ask why are they making another remake, that's the reason why.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Yeah.
Godzilla versus King Kong, a release date pushed back 8 months to November 2020.
Yeah.
So as people can recall watching this show diligently, I reported back a couple weeks ago when we were talking about the Star Wars leak that Star Wars took all the production teams of sci-fi crews and everything to be making the Star Wars movie to be ready for next week, because next week is Japan's airing of it before it comes to the statewise. And one of the things I said from my contact, I said this is going to push up any other special effect heavy movies to 6 to 8 months. And we have The Kingsman, which was reported last week, and now we have Godzilla and Kong this week, and you'll start seeing trickle in throughout this month and next month that more movies will be delayed.
Yeah.
Depending on how heavy their special effects are needed.
It is interesting how much effect Star Wars is having it's a lot of negative ways. But
Hmm.
one thing I can tell Star Wars is you're not going to do well here in Japan because Japanese aren't the type to stand up and yell and scream like a lot of other cultures. But they weren't pleased with that Last Jedi at all. You have a fairly sizable Star Wars fandom here in Japan, which you didn't have in China. So you do have here. But they completely uninterested, and the younger generation doesn't know anything at all about Star Wars, not
Most
at all.
dishonorable.
Well, they just they didn't like it, right? I mean, they completely. The thing, the interesting thing about the Last Jedi, it was so polarizing that it shut people off to any possible future Star Wars. That's how dramatically polarizing it was, and I
You
know
bring
this
dishonor
personally.
to Disney, and you bring dishonor to your family.
Well, but I mean, I'm right, yeah. It's amazing
Yes.
how
Yeah.
strong an effect that movie had. And as far as Godzilla versus King Kong goes, um, God, I don't know. I don't even know why we need this movie. But here's the thing. This is typical Hollywood nonsense, right? Because if you go back to Godzilla when it was coming out in Japan and popularity, one of the most popular Godzillas that came out from the initial run of the initial creator, well, although he wasn't completely involved with it, but was Godzilla versus King Kong, right? And but it was popular at the time because of what was going on and the action that was going on in the scene. It wasn't because King Kong and Godzilla, ooh, what a great matchup. It had nothing to do with that. And the problem we have today is Godzilla is what, 4 times the size that he was back then? So now we're going to have to increase King Kong 4 times, right?
Oh,
Uh,
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh
it
no.
it doesn't apply the same today as it did then. It's out of it's one of those things that is out of context. And I mean, honestly, who wants a Godzilla versus Kong movie, dude? Who?
I do. I do.
Why? Who are you going to root for?
Huh?
Who do you
I'm going
root
to root
for?
for the. I'm going to root for the humans because this is going to be such an incredible mess.
Well, the last movie had some good stuff in it, but the worst part was the humans. Actually, if they cut the humans out of the last movie, that's a pretty good flick. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's many of you saying Chester, shut up, because I can't see the chat. But no, dude, who wants this? Nobody wants this. We
You,
don't want
you
this.
know the movie. Come on, Chester. You know the movie's going to come to a draw because there's going to be an ultimate bad guy that's bringing
Yeah,
these
they're
two
gonna
together.
team up. I
Oh
know.
my
I know.
goodness,
I know.
They're
George,
going
you're
to team
so
up.
correct.
Of
I
course, they're
know.
going to team
Yeah,
up.
I know, George. Yeah, it's true. It's
Yeah.
true. It's true. Let's move on because it's time to blame the black guy. Go ahead.
Yep. So John Boyega admits it was his script for Rise of the Skywalker that ended up on eBay
Okay.
and being sold for $86.
Everyone who
There.
believes that, please raise your hand. Please raise your hand if you believe. I don't believe this. And it's interesting to me that ultra woke Star Wars is throwing the blame on the black dude. That's funny to me because they had to have a meeting. JJ came out. I don't have this news up here, but you all know JJ came out and he admitted that it was a real script. He also mentioned the fandom menace. I mean, God, Ethan must just his head just blew up 1,000 times. But they trotted out Boyega here on various things to take that blame. And it's interesting to me because I don't believe it. We read that article and we looked at the way they worded it. It was absolutely a female who did it. It wasn't a male. And
Wait, did Denali say that it went for $86?
yeah, I know. That caught me too, dude. It's like really.
80,
That tells
86.
you the level of interest already in
Mm,
this
yeah, right.
production. Oh my
That's a good
lord,
point. But I mean, we
bless their hearts.
it bless their hearts. But I mean, I'm very confident this is a woman who made this mistake, not a man. And of course, we kind of assumed it was Daisy Ridley because of who has a full script, right? Because and it even brings it up to a point here. John Boyega wouldn't have a full script either. He's a side character. He would have a minimized script. They don't give full scripts out to everybody. They only go to the people who need full scripts. And John Boyega does not need a full script because he's been demoted, right?
Yeah.
So this is absolute nonsense. And I find it very interesting that they decided to trot out the black guy to take the blame because you would think they would be terrified to do such a thing. I don't know.
You did say there's a lot of pushback with wokeness, so maybe they're showing their true colors finally.
Yeah. But I mean that's all there
Un-
is to the article. He took complete responsibility. He stood up and
unless unless we're wrong in the fact of how they are dealing with the scripts, because we're assuming that they're doing things like normal movies, like the MCU. You give as much script as you need for that character to do his job because you are trying to maintain
yeah.
that secretness. But
But that's
we
standard
know
Lucasfilm procedure, dude.
it's standard Lucasfilm procedure.
Yeah.
But look at the people that are now doing these movies are imbeciles.
That's
You
true.
got so many people involved that don't know exactly what they're doing, don't know how to make a Star Wars movie. They may just actually have stacks and reams of scripts that everybody's running around with because they don't know how to produce a movie and maintain secrecy and everything.
Maybe. I
They
don't
don't
know.
know how to produce a movie.
But hey, he's
Mhm.
taking responsibility, so we'll let him have it. But I don't believe it. I really don't. But good on you, Boyega. Hopefully, you'll get another movie out of this because here's the thing though: these characters, there's been several movies in history that have absolutely destroyed the career of the people involved with them. There are many examples of this, and I'm kind of wondering how these guys are going to fare. And I'm talking about the young ones, right? Daisy Ridley, Boyega here, and who's that super annoying, pilot guy? I can't stand that guy. Um,
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac, yeah. Now his character is middling, like, whatever. But the dude, if you ever listen to him in an interview, God, he's an annoying human being. But those three right there, and of course Rose Tico, if we want to throw her in as well. Um, do you think they're going to have any ability to make movies after this? Because we saw Daisy in the remake of the Orient Express, and she was meh at best. But that movie wasn't the best rendition of that movie of that story anyway. But do you guys think
Mhm.
these guys are going to have a future afterward?
Not
After
really.
No.
after Daisy's rap on Jimmy Kimmel, I don't think she has.
Why?
any
What did she do on
future.
Jimmy Kimmel?
She
Oh,
rapped.
you haven't seen it?
Mm-mm.
It
No.
was it was a flaming pyre of cringe. Amazing.
Really, really? Because she's been pretty quiet.
Uh-huh.
What did she say?
No, she
No, she did rap. She did rap about Star Wars
Oh, she
with Jimmy
rapped.
Kimmel and put. Yeah,
mhm.
she rapped.
Oh, yeah. Well, Jimmy
Yeah,
Kimmel's an idiot. But yeah, I can imagine how bad that was. The best thing I've ever seen Daisy really do. She was in a movie where she played a dead body on a naked on a metal table in a coroner's office, and she had no lines, and she didn't even move. She didn't even blink. She's just dead
yep.
on the. That was the best thing she'd ever did. Yeah,
Naked dead body. That was
naked
her.
dead body.
That was her
That was
part.
her. That's her best part. Yeah, yeah. And if you haven't seen that, that's the Autopsy of Jane Doe. It's actually a pretty good flick. It's very interesting, but she has nothing to do with the story. She's just the dead body,
Oh,
which is
that
fun.
was her.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
she should have got an Oscar for that.
yeah, yeah. It's a
I,
fun
I
movie
saw
though.
that.
That was an interesting movie.
I
It,
saw that movie,
yeah,
and it
yeah. Well,
really freaked me out. Spoilers when they actually started looking. Wait a minute, there's activity in the brain,
yeah. No,
and
if
that
you haven't seen that movie, go
going
check it
through.
out. Yeah, absolutely. It's very similar to that movie that came out recently, The Witch. It has that kind of vibe going on, actually, with the way it's presented and the creep factor. It's a good flick. You should go check it out. It's one of those little low budget flicks you would never hear about, but you should watch. And she's in it, but like I said, she's a dead body. It doesn't move. But
You can use a barometer for this kind of thinking.
yeah, well, you know
You know
what they
that
were.
chick from the chick from Game of Thrones that became Dark Phoenix.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sophie Turner.
Sophie
Yeah.
Turner. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You look at her before when she was all mouthy, and then when the Game of Thrones tanked, when Dark Phoenix tanked, she stopped being mouthy and she disappeared.
Yeah, well, I mean, but there's more to it than that. I think she has acting skills. She does, but the problem for her, which this is one of the things about Hollywood, I would agree is completely unfair. But one of the problems with her is she aged badly, and she's very young, but she she was like a little kid when they brought her on, and she aged poorly. I mean, it's unfortunate for her, and it'll affect her career. But Daisy Ridley, as far as doing rapping, that's it's tragic, I guess. But it's kind of funny because this is a trend they've actually done before. We had the what's the boy from Harry Potter, the Harry Potter kid.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Daniel Radcliffe, yeah, he's actually a very
Mhm.
very smart boy, and he got up and he did a kind of a rap where he did the entire periodic table in a rap, which was pretty impressive actually. It was pretty impressive. So maybe that's what they said because that was cool and successful. Maybe they were trying to copy that, but yeah, I have a feeling these people are going to see themselves with not many opportunities coming up. And the saddest one for me out of all of them is Boyega because I remember him in Attack the Block, which is a British
Okay.
flick, low budget, and he was great in that, dude.
He was
That
very
was good.
charismatic. That's why I was excited when they announced he was part
Yeah,
of Force Awakens and we saw it. And the trailers at that time was misleading, showing that he was going to be the protagonist because stormtrooper protagonist, he becomes a Jedi. That's
that'd have
what
been
the
cool.
trailer.
Yeah.
That would have been a cool story right there.
Yeah, and they could have layered it in with the other stories, and I've said this before, but in the Force Awakens, my favorite character in that was Boyega's character.
Mhm.
And then Ryan Johnson obviously hated him. I don't know what Ryan turned his back on this guy immediately. I don't know why. But and it is what it is. Next. Oh God, go ahead.
All right, so this is from the IndieWire, and this is actually connected to a lot of other stories, and because you touched upon it, Chester,
I
which
did.
which is J.J. Abrams is talking to Esquire about the Phantom Menace and what's going on. We heard Doomcock and Geeks and Gamer Jeremy
Mm,
talk about it and saying, is there's a turning point about J.J. Abrams about this conversation about the Phantom Menace? The answer is equally no. It's basically a bait and switch. He's dangling the hand for the Phantom Menace to look around while he's actually making a deal here. And what IndieWire is talking about is J.J. Abrams trying to make additional deals with Warner Brother or Warner Media Studio
mhm,
for being a director for the Superman flick, and also making deals for first look projects.
mhm.
What those two means is because JJ is a head of a studio and special effect company as well, Bad Robot. He
No,
has to
no, no, no. It's called Bad Reboot. Yeah, get that right.
Bad Reboot.
Yeah.
Yes, he's in charge of Bad Reboot, and it costs about $100 million a year for him to maintain that Bad Reboot act fully operational. So
Wow.
you can see how much 500 million will be eaten up in about 2 or 3 years with all the expensive. So it's in his benefit to get these deals going because the first look is original programming
Mhm,
like Lost, like Fringe, like any other shows that he makes that are originally his, because that would be ongoing money that's coming in that is not him spending money.
mhm.
And he's doing that so he can make these deals while everybody's too distracted about, oh, he mentioned about the Phantom Menace and all that stuff.
Right.
Um, and that's the point I was getting with this article right here is,
Mhm,
you know, that's just a snake oilsman salesman wooing the eyes while he's actually making the side deal to actually continue on,
mhm,
because you can guarantee when that movie comes out, if he hasn't made those deals, he's going to be in a bind
mhm.
because he only has enough money for operation for 4 or 5 years.
Well, he could
So
reduce operations, but the word you're looking for there is huckster.
mhm.
Huckster.
Huckster,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
hucksters. Thank you.
And it's a good point that Dinelli's making, and we've of course been making that point for quite a while here. But there's another important point to be made here because you guys have seen this headline on several places. It's not just IndieWire. There's many, many places covering the story, and each one of
Mhm.
them, interestingly to me, are just raw clickbait. And you guys remember a year ago, one of our very first shows we ever did on this channel, they were talking about making Michael B. Jordan Superman. And you remember I was making a joke and I took and put Whoopi Goldberg's head on Superman's body, making a joke about it, right? Here's
Yeah.
the thing about the clickbait of this title. Nowhere in this story or any other story does it mention or even hint at the idea that he is going to be Superman. It's simply talking to him about Superman because he's being talked about as being some character in Superman. It doesn't say anything about him being Superman. Matter of fact, this article goes on to re-mention the fact that Henry Cavill recently, this week, came up and said, "I'm not done with Superman," because everybody's been keep saying, "Oh, he's out, he's out, he's out." Well, as far as Henry Cavill is concerned, he's not out. He's still got Superman in him. So it just shocks me the clickbait that they put up, man. It's really outrageous because nowhere
Right.
does it say anything about him being Superman, right? But that's
Right.
the implication, right?
Right.
He's
And
probably
he
going to
actually
be Jimmy Olsen. No, that's probably who he's going to be, right?
no, it probably would be because that's how it goes.
That's James Olsen. Come on.
You're right, Slick. It will be James Olsen.
I'm making fun of Supergirl. He's not Jimmy. He's James Olsen. Get it right. I'm just like,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. Do you guys, anybody want to speculate on what character he might be in the Superman movie?
Black
He'll be the new General Zod clone.
Black Goliath. A black elongated man.
Why must there be a black in front of that, George?
Exactly. I'm just quoting scripture.
Yeah, I know.
What's been
You're right.
going on
You're right.
since
That's a good point.
the beginning of comic books.
Would it be
any character? If he's
would it
black,
be Jet Boy? Is that a character?
Oh, Jet Boy. I don't know, but it should be.
You can't use the term boy.
You can't. Well, why? What's wrong with boy? Superboy, Spider Boy.
He's got dark skin.
Huh?
Because
he's got dark skin. It's racist.
It's racist if you call him boy.
Oh, I call people boy all the time. I call my son boy. I don't even use his real name.
Is that during or after the swinging in the trees?
Oh boy.
Jesus, George. What the hell? But the thing is, I like Michael B. Jordan, though. I think he's a pretty good actor. But clickbait.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Right.
What the hell is this? Who is it?
So this is from
no,
Deadline.
this is a good segment we're coming into here. Yeah, this is a good segment.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is from Deadline. And we're doing movement with AT&T. We talked about a little bit on Monday. Now we're continuing on with Christina Miller is stepping down, quote unquote, as president of WarnerMedia Cartoon Network.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're wondering why Cartoon Network went from really, really good to really, really poor, her 15 years in the company as president is the same period where it went really, really good to really, really not so good.
Right. Now, and it's interesting because these next few stories we have, and let me just cover the headlines of these stories because it's overall as a block, the story is the shakeups that are going on. Here's one, and this is with the AT&T WarnerMedia purchase, right? Here's another one.
Marvel promotes Steve Wacker to head of content, new media.
Okay. So who is Steve Wacker?
He was a senior editor in Marvel Entertainment. Now he's head of content.
Yeah, I don't like that guy either.
And he was behind A Brand New Day, the Spider-Man thing, which a lot of people were very upset with, actually. Did not like that. Now that's interesting. So here's another one, right? And here's
he was
the third
also
one.
involved in hiring certain people, like Sana Amanat.
Yeah, but see, he's now here. We have a demotion because she did a poor job. Here we have a promotion, and here we have I don't know what. Go ahead.
We have former Chief Creative Officer Joe Quesada as now VP of Creative Direction. Yeah.
So is that a promotion or is that just a pat on the head? I mean,
that's a demotion.
It seems like a lateral move to me.
Yeah.
No, it's not a lateral move. In terms of a corporation hierarchy, that's a demotion. It is. Trust me.
They should have just booted him. I'm tired of Joey Q.
Yeah, I think a lot of us really are.
Moved them into a corner. There's no way out. There's no way up. There's only a way out.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we're seeing a lot of this going on. There's been talks about what's going on with Didio, and but the point of these three articles is that there is things going on, right? And we've been talking about this for a while. That this ultra wokeness cannot sustain itself. They've been devouring each other for a year, really, and we've been seeing a lot of pushback coming across all media. Now we mainly talk about pop culture, comic book, type movie type of stuff here, but all culture of all different kind of things, we're seeing major pushback
Hmm.
coming along the way, and this is a sign. I mean, look what's going on there. Things are really changing, and I don't know if it's good or bad, but this dude right here, he really needs to stop looking like a Foo Fighter. Really, stop it.
Let me
Maybe he loves Foo Fighter. You know, that's always a good thing.
okay, let me bring something up that happened right when I came in the show, and you
Yeah.
asked me what I thought about Mark Zaid being a real person and Mark Wade, and Zaid is also a lawyer in what's going on in some of the other high level political circles.
Yeah.
These guys too, right? It's all circles. There's circles of these people
Hmm.
together, watching each other's back, right? So things are doing bad. Well, that's okay. I mean, we use the term "good old boy" program, and usually "good old boy"
Yeah.
is designed for the fat redneck guys, helping each other out and looking each other over his back down there in the South. But that term applies directly here too. You've got these people that are being demoted. Things aren't doing well, but instead of getting rid of you, you know, you go along with our agenda. So we're just kind of move you around and move you over there and keep you in the circle still. And I think that's what's going on.
Well, we have a word for that, DeWalt. It's called nepotism.
Nepotism. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But that's whatever. I just think it's interesting that we're really starting to see some movement, good or bad, I don't know. But we're seeing some shakeup is certainly happening, and like I said, it's not just here. If you pay attention to what's going on in Silicon Valley and many big companies, there's some major shakeup going on, dude. And hopefully, in the end, it'll all come out to be positive because this past 3 years has been pretty rough, dude. Anyway, so there you go. Interesting, interesting. Moving on now.
Yeah.
Oh, this is just the most awesome, beautiful news ever. Go ahead.
So because deals are always going on, and it doesn't. Here's I want to preface this before I move on to the actual article. Hollywood's always making the deals before the failure happens, and you're wondering the movie fail. How are these people still making more movie? It's
Mhm.
because before the failure happens, they made deals to get to continue on with their work because Hollywood always remember it's your last project. So it doesn't matter if you fail, like for Charlie Angel, if your next movie is a major success, they will always remember the last project. Vice versa, it doesn't matter if you are an Oscar winner, multi-billion-dollar film, if your next film is a failure, kind of deal.
Well, it,
But
it it is an example of failing up, though, Dinelli.
right, but what I'm saying is they already made those contracts and deals
Probably, yeah.
to continue doing that. So to understand this report is after Charlie's Angels box office failure, Elizabeth Bank is tapped to direct and star in The Invisible Woman for Universal.
Hmm.
And I'm saying this is because she has already made the deal prior to Charlie's Angel coming out to direct and write for this movie.
Hmm. You know, um, I'm sure that's true. I'm sure that's true. Uh, excuse me. But the thing that's interesting to me about this article and her in general is
Mhm.
she's giving me a little bit of a Clint Eastwood vibe. And let me explain what I mean by that before you start throwing heavy objects at me. Um, she, I'd never heard of her before, but she came out with Charlie's Angel. She directed it and starred in it. Now she's going to be doing The Invisible Woman, which was the third movie in the Invisible Man trilogy, I guess if you could call it that. So it's based. It's a reboot. It's a remake, right? And But she's going to direct and star in this too. I mean, how many director actors do we know like that? I mean, it's kind of interesting dynamic, right? Usually they're very separate, but here we have a lady who seems consistently is going to be directing and acting, starring in movies. That's
Well,
kind of
John
unique,
Favreau.
right?
Nope, John Favreau.
Well,
Off the top of my
did
head,
he direct The Chef?
he was starting it too.
He did,
Yes.
but did he direct it though? Oh, he did. Okay, that was a great movie,
He
by the
also
way.
directed Iron Man, and he was in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, okay. I'm just asking because it doesn't seem like the most common thing to me. I
No,
have to
it is.
say she's an
It's very
attractive
common.
lady.
It's very common.
Yeah, Jonathan Frakes.
There's
He
a lot of
he's
TV shows
Oh,
specifically.
well, we don't
Well,
talk
don't you
about
remember?
Jonathan Frakes. He's horrible. We don't have to.
Well, don't you remember the Unicorn Room? Brie Larson both starred in and directed that, and that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about William Shatner, Star Trek V? Leonard Nimoy, Star
Yeah,
Trek
you're
3.
missing the point, George. It seems like
See,
this is her shtick consistently. It's not like, someone after years of service to his franchise to say, "Hey, yeah, go ahead, try your hand at directing," like William Shatner.
the only
I'm
way
talking
she's
about
gonna
this
make
is
any
her
money
shtick. This is what she
double
does.
dipping. It's the only way she's going to make any money. She's double dipping. She'll get royalties as an actress. She'll get royalties as a director, and she will maintain the status that she wants.
Okay, well, yeah,
That's
okay,
that's
thank you,
that's
George. But yeah, I just wish you'd make choose a lane though, because you see this picture here, and I've seen other pictures where she's dressing super sexy, and she's a pretty girl. But then she has her man moments. I don't get it.
Oh,
okay.
that's her. Oh,
Okay, you know what? I didn't think this would actually come up, but I have a link in the chat inside the Hangouts
Uh-huh.
that you should click on. It takes you to a Twitter page or Twitter post, and talking about the good looking. Right now, you see Elizabeth Banks here on the screen. She's good looking, but on screen, she's just horrible to look at. I have something regarding Brie Larson. I think you'll look at what you see Brie Larson
Are you
off
hating on the
screen.
women, George? Are you hating
No,
women?
no, not dating on the women. I'm just finding common ground here. You'll see Brie Larson off the screen, and then you'll think about Brie Larson on the screen.
All right, I've clicked it.
well, anytime we can
Hold on
think
a
more
second.
about Brie Larson.
Hold on, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Brie Larson hashtag whatever. That's not Brie Larson, is it?
Click
It
on
is.
click on the image. Click on the image so you can see the full image.
Is that Brie Larson?
Yes, it is.
Now,
It's in her.
now taking into context this conversation, you see these women. They
Sluts
know
and
the
guts.
power of
Yeah.
their they know the power of their beauty. They know how they're able to maintain it,
hmm
execute it. These are strong, powerful women.
Yeah, this is probably a decade
But,
ago, this picture, dude.
it doesn't matter.
It
The
Oh, I
does
point
can
is,
matter.
explain it.
no, hold on a sec. The point is that she's very well aware of herself and the person that she is, and they choose to not use this power of beauty and performance on screen where they could actually be devastating. They choose
Mhm.
not to be devastating. That's my point
Well,
here.
you're mumbling again, George. And I can't hear you very clearly. Because, yeah, even in this picture from a decade ago, which is the best she could do, she even got her head at the right angle, which I'm sure the camera guy was at right to a little bit to the right, a little bit to the right. This is the best shot you're going to get of her, because we know what she looks like, and she's not that attractive, dude. She
All
got a
right.
normal little body. It's fine.
I am compelled. I'm compelled to explain this a little bit. So this is when she was first trying to be more popular and bust out into movies and everything else. She was actually doing singing at this point, and she was trying to do pop singing, much like Britney Spears. She was kind of
hmm
creating herself back into another Britney Spears type of a person, and she was using everything that Britney Spears also used. Now, what happened was she just didn't uh, come to rise as that type of a singer and popularity,
hmm
and so she remolded herself into something else. And I'm almost thinking where she's at now, it's almost a sour grapes concept as far as beauty and using uh, femininity.
hmm
But that's my own theory.
Oh, that butt is way too big. You should go exercise. Go on a diet. Let's see here. Oof, God no. Why do
Okay,
so
Tessa,
many of
can
these
you just move
girls
on?
with the
Tessa,
colored hair wear
Tessa,
these horned rim glasses?
Tessa,
God,
come on, move on.
I'm
Let's
not
focus
moving
on
on.
Blackberry.
No moving on. You started it. It's your fault. Ooh, Chun-Li. Ooh.
But yeah, that's why you see Brie Larson in this particular
Yeah.
scenario back in the past. She was actually using that. She was trying to do that, and now she's gotten away from that. And I think it's part of the woke experience.
I think we should learn more about Valerie Lapidus.
Hmm.
That is a nice looking Latina right there. Ooh, he's
You trying
gonna
to bring Brewster
win.
in here all of a sudden? Is that the
Yes,
thing?
yes. Ooh, ooh. This is a good Twitter. I like this Twitter. This is better than most Twitter. All right. Anyway, thank you, George. But it had nothing to do with Elizabeth Banks at all. Thank you, George. Good job. Anyway, moving on to the next one here. I think this is from Somaly, but I figured we should at least have some kind of comic book news in here. And this is kind of interesting. Comics Watch. Could Black Ghost fill the void left by Netflix's Jessica Jones? Now, first thing, did anybody here actually enjoy Jessica Jones as a character? I love David Tennant as Purple Man. I thought he was brilliant, but I didn't really like the casting of Jessica Jones. Anybody here
Yeah.
like that show?
Yes.
I,
Yeah.
I watched the first season for David Tennant,
Well, they
unfortunately.
got three of them though. They got three
Yeah.
of them though.
Season season 1 and 3 is really good, and 2 is kind of a filler.
Okay, all right. See, I really couldn't get even into season 2 at all, so I haven't seen season 3. But I did love it. It's just, but that's me personally. I know some people really like her characters, and that's cool. So they don't have her anymore because Marvel pulled the plug on that. So we have a potential here in Black Ghost, but the problem is, I've never heard of Black Ghost. Have you guys heard of this at all? And this is a comic, one of those Comixology originals, which they announced a year ago, right? Has anyone read this here?
Yeah, of course.
I
Black
haven't.
Ghost, Black Goliath, Black Panther. Come on, and the character's obviously black, and
Uh-huh. 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 Yeah,
he's a ghost.
that is weird they do that. She's not black, she's Latina, I think. The mystery comic, which follows crime reporter Lara Dominguez as she obsessively tracks a masked vigilante, feels like strong fodder for a TV show. I don't know, maybe. It could be interesting having a character, a heroic character chasing a vigilante, but then again, aren't you also a vigilante? Ooh, it could have depth to it. I don't know.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, I just somebody put this up. He put a bunch of stuff, and I just grabbed this one because I don't know anything about it. Has anybody in the chat read this? Anybody? Let
First
me go.
time I'm looking at it. I don't really look at Comixology, to be honest. I try to support my local comic book shop as much as I can.
All right, let me come over and check the.
Capitalizing on the Jessica Jones fan base, though,
Mhm.
that's smart by Netflix. Let's go ahead and take another comic character that's out there. Marvel stripped away their ability to make them in now. So let's find it out. Let's find another one. Let's get one that can kind of mirror what happened to Jessica Jones, and capitalize on it for capitalism, for cashola. Excellent, good idea. Give it a shot.
Yeah, maybe, right? I'm checking out the chat, and people are making comments about all the stuff we said along the way, like Fringe and the Fugitive, and someone mentioned the Prisoner. That's pretty cool. They're Happy Thanksgiving. March here says Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. They're talking about the how much money was spent for the scripts. I guess it was a couple scripts. Kind of interesting. Dumbo or Dumb Comics. I thought he said Dumbo. Bad Robot. No, it's Bad Reboot. It's definitely Bad Reboot. Uh, uh, Eric says Chester prefers the term nippletism. I would certainly prefer that. Yeah. Invisible Woman. I hope the movie will be invisible to audiences. Well, I mean, it is a remake of the third movie in that old. It's kind of, I guess you call it a trilogy. They had the Invisible Man, the Return of the Invisible Man, and then the Invisible Woman, right? And so it is a reboot. It's not some new thing. It's not like they're gender swapping. It's not that situation. It was already done. But I mean, for me, it was more because we know Elizabeth Banks also came up and blamed the absolute bomb of her movie on men, as they always seem to do. Nick C says she was Betty Brant in Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man trilogy. Her husband is a producer. She's a friend with Hillary Clinton. Oh, okay. rock on. I don't know who she is. Legs aren't bad, at least. We're talking about that picture of a long time ago, Brie Larson. Yeah, I mean, she's kind of a normal girl. I mean, she's just, look, she's 30, but pushing 40 as far as what she looks like is the problem. But I guess, Shogunai, maybe that's what she's so angry about. John Diller says, stop looking at our Latina women, Chester. Go look at your overweight Celts. Hey, shut up. You shut up. I'll look at any Latina I want, John. And Nick C says, "Comixology original. That's all you need to know." Yeah, that was kind of really cringy what they came out with. But anyway, let's come over here. Let's do this, and then let's do that, and then that. But all right, so I caught up with the chat. I do apologize for this, guys, not being able to see the chat as it comes up, but I don't know. We got to take more breaks during the show, and for me to go over and do that, I guess. But anyway, let's just go down the line and see if you guys have any kind of closing statements about the news today. It was a kind of interesting bit of segments we covered. Let's start with DeWolf.
It was interesting. I think the biggest thing we're seeing is what's happening within the all these companies, how they're reorganizing
Yeah.
and being affected by some of the fallout from both the movies and the comics and what's happening. And it'll be interesting to see how this gets moved forward. If maybe we start seeing a few more projects that are good without having to go down that woke road, and we can start enjoying life again.
Yeah, hopefully, right? Yeah, good point. Good point. George?
Well, we know a few things regarding the show. Is that yes, Chester can talk less. It's possible. You just have to keep him on his toes,
Uh-huh.
off his toes.
Mhm.
DeWolf only pops his head out when it suits him, and right now he's got this awesome project that he's going to tell us all about it, and it's not about the money; it's
Mhm.
about the love.
Mhm. Mhm.
And Dinale, his perception of the business is so spot on. It makes Geeks and Gamers and Neurotic and Doomcut pale in comparison.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And then we look at Slick Jimmy. I mean, Slick
Why
Jimmy.
would you want to do that?
Yeah. Why would you want to do that?
Because
Yeah.
he's slick.
Just your avatar.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
Well,
slick.
George,
Look
you are
at me.
really good at being irritating. It's impressive to me how good you're being good at being that. Even when you're not trying, you're kind of irritating. It's pretty
You
awesome, dude. It's like a
gotta have
superpower or
the
something.
setup. You have to have the hero's journey, and you have to have the expectation and the
Uh-huh.
reality in the message that you bring out. It's
Okay,
got to
so
have a full story.
you're not the hero in the hero's journey. You're not the villain in the hero's journey. So what character are you in the hero's journey?
I am the narrator,
Oh, are you? I don't think I
Sam.
agree with that. I think you're Gaston. Yeah.
Oh, oh, really, D'Artagnan? You really think that?
Anyway, thank you very much, George. And Slick, dude, save me from this nonsense.
I don't think that's possible at this point, but I do think that I hope in the deep depths of my heart that the wokeness will dissipate and that true good storytelling will come back. But I really, I don't have much hope for the future, at least for right now. I think we have a few more years of people getting their ass kicked and losing money, and them trying to find a formula and having a dearth of creativity, imagination, and just any sort of spark of something that will
Hmm.
blossom into a good franchise that's new and innovative and all that. They're looking for stuff that's gonna fill their pockets without having to do a lot of work, and then they spend millions and millions of dollars while they do it at the same time. But I do know this:
Mhm.
there are people out there, and we know a lot of them, who have ideas, and those ideas might come into some fruition. So I guess there's a little hope.
Yeah, I think so. And you know when I think this is all going to end, Slick? It's it's going to end next November because because our good emperor overlord Trump, it looks like he's going to win. And when he wins, it's going to suck the life out of these people to such an extent. I think he'll have a rash of suicides, and I'm not joking. And
They're gonna
I think
pop.
it's going to
Yeah.
just suck the life out of what they're doing, and this will go away.
Or we may
Yeah.
have a war. You never know.
No,
I think your prediction's quite true, because if you remove a person's meaning for life, it does actually come back to why even be around.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
It,
did you guys see Alyssa Milano? I guess over this school like ice raid thing, she's just bawling on online,
Hmm.
and I'm just like, what are you talking about? I just what are you worried about? They're just gonna run the run over the border again. They're gonna try. It's if they weren't here legally, they shouldn't be. I don't understand it. I mean, I want immigration. I just want legal and
Yeah, we all
everything
agree.
to be
Yeah.
above board.
There's nothing wrong with immigration at all. Matter of fact, America's got the best and greatest immigration system on the planet. Right?
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question though. One last question before we go. What are you doing for Thanksgiving over there in Japan?
Of course, Thanksgiving for me will be, well, I guess, nothing. Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, I'm going to make lasagna.
Mm.
Yeah.
You have forsaken us, Chester.
What do you want? I mean, when my kids were in the house and my kids were young, I ran all the holidays. I did Thanksgiving, I did Christmas, I did Easter, plus I did 4th of July, I did birthdays, I did all the Japanese stuff, and we did it consistently. But now the kids are out of the house. I mean, there's no reason to celebrate any of those holidays, is there? I mean,
I don't know.
Tradition.
Tradition.
Yeah, but
Thanksgiving,
Go
you're
get
thanking
a little
the
bit of
Lord
turkey,
for
sliced
everything He
turkey, and
provides.
Yeah, but see,
Don't
slap it on
here's the thing you guys
slap it
don't
on a
understand.
sandwich.
Here's something you guys don't get. Okay, uh, to keep that up for all the years I did that was just sheer will, right? Because
Mhm.
when what you have to understand, when you have a holiday, wherever you live, you are surrounded by a culture that is celebrating that holiday, right? So for Thanksgiving, everyone's going out and shopping, getting that stuff, and they're talking, and families are organizing, and the news mentions it all the time. We got turkeys being pardoned, and we got cute little kids hand turkey pictures being shown on Good Morning America, and all that kind of stuff. You're inundated in the culture of the thing, no matter what the holiday will be. I live over here. There is no inundation of anything, even their own damn holidays. So the only reason those things exist in my house is because I made them exist. There's nothing outside of the house to influence them whatsoever. So once the motivation is gone, it's like, well, why? No one here does any of those holidays, and so there's nothing surrounding me to.
Have some personal conviction, Chester. Come
Oh
on.
God! All right, fine. Chester's
I
bad. That's the
I do
general.
I do think you could do this. Just make it a reason for a party on
Uh-huh,
Thanksgiving, and you invite your friends over who are Japanese,
uh-huh.
and expats or whatever. Even though you hate that,
I do
um,
hate that. Yeah.
and and have them over and just have a party and say, we're thankful for the breath in our lungs,
There you
that
go.
sort of shit.
That would be awesome. I'm
okay,
the only
okay, but
foreigner anywhere
you know
near
what?
here, Slick. I don't have any foreign friends. You are my foreign friends. And
Okay.
and as far as the expat thing, it's actually interesting because that is probably the only thing the only thing that actually bothers me. I mean, I act like angry, do those kind of things for the fun of it, but expat is the only thing that actually irks me. That anyone's ever said in the show because I hate that word. I am not an expatriate. I am very patriotic. Thank you very much. But
All right.
other than triggering me, thank you very much, Slick. There are no foreigners anywhere near me for me to do that. And I do have some Japanese friends, but Japanese don't do friend like we do. They really don't. It's very different. It's almost I would say it's acquaintance is really how Japanese do friendship. So yeah, I don't have those options, dude. Which is why I do a YouTube channel, so I can come talk to you guys and make friends. Yay.
All right. All right. You know what? I got something for all of this. Okay. Can we hang our heads down as a say a Thanksgiving prayer? I want to thank I want to thank all the people who have ever lived before,
Uh,
and most notable one who lived 100 years ago. All his suffering, his sacrifice, his trials and errors, and success has paved the way of life for our lazy spectator submissive lives, so that we crave so much in a small rectangular screen that fits in the pockets and microwaves our genitals. Thanks a lot, Tesla.
Thank you, Tesla. Praise Tesla. George, you're just angry, dude. You're just angry. Find some love in your life, George. But yeah. Anyway,
How
interesting.
I exhumed all my anger into Joe King, versus the world's greatest average hero.
Okay.
Put a little love in your heart.
There you go. There you go. Love in your heart. But of course, happy Thanksgiving to all you guys. I hope you have a good time with your families and enjoy all those horrible Thanksgiving foods because I hate pretty much all of them, except for pecan pie. That's pretty awesome. I'll eat that. I like turkey too. But stuffing and cranberry, bleh, bleh, I hate that stuff. But you guys have a great time. Enjoy your family. And I hope you have a good time. And I'm going to be eating lasagna because I like lasagna. I make a pretty good lasagna too, actually. But anyway,
Okay, Garfield.
Hey, Garfield is a brilliant cat. Love you guys. We'll check you out on Saturday. Keep in mind the next 2 days are off, of course, for Thanksgiving and our normal day off. Yeah, awesome, guys. And of course, that's going to bring us over to Dinale, who's going to tell us what he's thankful for, and then also namaste us out.
All right. Well, I'm thankful to be meeting all these new people in this past year.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for a year, and we've been actually being more involved in the comic industry than we have been throughout our life, and we've been learning so much about that. And to all of our people on the other side of the screen who continue coming in and watching us goof around and act around, so I'm happy about that. So it's been like a year of more experience. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that was able to be connected with so many people, that I'm able to do my own project like Todd is with the Immortal Mask. And you can also sign up with my newsletter at dinalescomics@gmail.com if you choose to do so. But I say, please do so. I'll be so thankful. And my last thoughts about what we talked about it is I came back to the article that was saying that J.J. Abrams was done with the film. I reread it and the wording was different, and it's really he was done with his part of the film, meaning that the film hasn't been done completed. So they're going to do it. It's going to be a wet print version that's going to be delivered, meaning there's nothing else he could do. So George Lucas, Jon Favreau, and Dave Filoni, and Kevin Feige, who are now taking regime over of Lucasfilm because we all know it, are handling that film as well. So we'll be surprised to see what's going to happen. But otherwise, I'm thankful for everything. We will see you guys on Saturday with Fans Peak at 8 p.m. Eastern. And remember, your perception shapes your reality, so always make it a good one.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Gesundheit.
Damn you, Tesla.
Adios, y'all.
Yeah. Later, guys, and thanks for the comments in the chat. I can feel the love, man. I can feel it. Later.
Aloha.